What's going on, Imperials? Emperor Cubone here. We've been looking at each type of Pokemon and seeing how it ranks compared to the others, from 18th all the way to number 1. So, here's the second part of my Pokemon type rankings. Number 12. Normal type. Normal is the second most common type out of all, and with so many easily defeatable woodland creatures being introduced every generation, many of them bear the normal typing. I suppose there had to be some sort of base for the type chart in order to know exactly what is special about all the other types. Normal is not super effective against any type, but is weak to fighting type attacks. Normal is also completely immune to ghost moves, meaning that the two cannot touch each other. Normal is the only type to have lost Pokemon from its roster, with a number of previous normal types switching to pure Fairy in Generation 6. Normal currently has the most moves out of any type, with 172. Despite Normal hitting most things neutrally, there are a number of high-powered Normal type attacks that have been serious threats for generations. Normal also has the most status moves out of any type of Pokemon. Out of all those moves, my favorite would have to be Body Slam. It has decent power with reliable accuracy, and has the added bonus of potentially causing paralysis on the opponent. My favorite normal type is the Pokemon that embodies America itself, Braviary. And my favorite pure normal type is the original glutton, Snorlax. Number 11. Grass type. Grass is one of the starting types the player can choose from at the beginning of each game. Unfortunately, I don't find it to be a very versatile one. Grass is weak to many different common types of Pokemon, and there are even more that are resistant to it. Grass does counter some other common types, but if any of those are combined with its numerous weaknesses, then it's back to square one. However, Grass-type Pokemon are probably the best out of all at using status moves, such as Poison Powder, Aromatherapy, Grass Whistle, Spiky Shield, and Cotton Guard. There are also a large number of grass moves that heal the user, like Giga Drain, Synthesis, and Horn Leech. I think part of why the Grass type isn't higher up on the list is because there are so many that are unintimidating or just plain weird, and then those same ideas keep getting recycled over and over again. However, there are some formidable grass types to help out your team. My favorite grass move used to be Leaf Blade, but now it's actually the status move Leech Seed, which slowly saps the opponent's health every turn and gives it back to you. My favorite grass type is Sceptile, who's not only my favorite pure grass type, but one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. Number 10. Psychic type. Psychic was unstoppable back in the first generation. It was such a powerhouse that it needed a brand new type just to balance it out. And although it hasn't kept up its seat of power over the years, there have been a number of strong Psychic types, as well as some rather strange and unsettling ones with creepy dex entries. I've always appreciated the power of the mind, not necessarily ESP, but just mental acumen in general. And many Psychic types are told to be among the smartest Pokemon. Psychic, as one might expect, is overwhelmingly based on special attack and defense, not relying on physically touching the opponent. My favorite Psychic type move is what I suppose would be the flagship move for the type, being Psychic. It can lower the target's special defense, making the next hit even more devastating. Plus, no other type has a move that's simply the name of that type. My favorite Psychic type of all is definitely Metagross, who is not only one of the best Pokemon designs I've ever seen, but is a powerhouse as well. My favorite pure Psychic type is the original extrasensory dominator, Alakazam. Number 9. Steel type. Steel type came in with Dark and Johto, and to me, it made a much better impression. Right from the onset, Steel proved an incredibly useful type, with their immunity to poison and their defenses skyrocketing to surpass all other types. The minute Steel appeared, it instantly outclassed Rock as the premier defensive typing. It's just a fact that Steel is a more sturdy building material than Rock. I'm honestly surprised that this wasn't an initial type, because it's just so easy to add metal to something to make it cooler. And although it could have easily become redundant, they do a fairly good job of maintaining diversity amongst their ranks. While Steel has always been great for defense, it lacked a powerful offensive punch compared to other types, and had to get a buff from being over the newly created Fairy type in order to be more relevant. There aren't a lot of great Steel type moves, but my favorite would have to be Iron Head, which has that sweet chance to flinch. My favorite Steel type is the unassuming terror Excadrill. My favorite pure Steel type is... Registeel? Is there anyone else? Let's see. No, Mawile got the Fairy type added. Ugh, Kling Clang? No thank you. Oh, Mega Aggron! Yeah! Okay. Wow, there are not many pure Steel types, but Mega Aggron is definitely my favorite. Number 8. Ice type. Rumor has it that Ice type was a late addition to the Pokemon franchise, just before it came out, simply fitting it in where they could. Whether or not this is true, Ice types have a number of excellent majestic designs that I love. For whatever reason, Ice types tend to get reserved for later in the games, not being accessible until the 7th or 8th gym. That may be because Ice is the rarest type of Pokemon out there, with only 40 of the 800 plus Pokemon being Ice. Ice-type moves are some of the best and most powerful moves that you can use, being able to cause serious devastation to the opponent. Ice moves are often used as coverage on water or other types of Pokemon to deal with big threats, with only a handful of actual Ice-type Pokemon being commonly used in battle. The Ice-type has the opposite problem of Steel, in that it's incredibly frail. Ice has only one resistance, being itself. I understand the idea that Ice is fragile and can easily be broken, but when you get a lot of it together, it gets pretty sturdy. In my opinion, Ice should have resisted Fairy when it was released, to at least give it one advantage. And they've even changed type resistances in the past, so it wouldn't hurt if they at least let it resist flying or something. My favorite Ice move is the classic, and one of the best coverage moves available, Ice Beam. My favorite Ice type is the gentle and powerful Lapras. My favorite pure Ice type is Glalie. Number 7. Dragon type. Dragon was always considered one of the most powerful types, even when they only had one. And this increased exponentially each generation, until it became so oppressive that they had to introduce an entirely new type just to have a safe answer for it. Dragon-type Pokemon have a huge number of fantastically crafted designs, as well as a massive average of base stat totals, thanks to most of the pseudo-legendaries being part Dragon-type. The Dragon-type was almost certainly added late to the games, as Dragon is not super effective against any type except for itself. Which didn't even matter, because in the first generation, the only Dragon-type move was Dragon Rage, which always does 40 damage. Now, of course, there are many high-powered, devastating Dragon moves that can punch holes through teams. Dragon types are in a league all their own. It's always a confidence boost to have a fire-breathing behemoth that you can order around, even if they're not actually a Dragon type. My favorite Dragon type move is the powerful slashing move Dragon Claw. My favorite Dragon type is the regal and formidable Flygon. Though he may be outclassed in certain situations, he's still useful in battle, and one of my favorite designs ever. My favorite pure dragon is the intimidating Haxorus. Well, there you have it, my second entry in ranking the Pokemon types. Be sure to keep tuned in for the final 6. What do you think of these types? What Pokemon are your favorites? Let me know down in the comments. Also be sure to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe so that you too can become an Imperial today. And we'll see you around next time.